Number two, we talk about experimentation. This is sort of something that we have to get right and we only get one shot at. There's a widely shared view that once AI capability crosses a certain threshold, whether that be recursive self-improvement or some other threshold, there's sort of going to be an escape velocity. So that has implications, number one, for the sort of narrower geopolitical context of which country leads in the technology, but also for the broader idea of is this technology going to be aligned with and beneficial to humanity.
I think some of the AI companies want this preemption because they know that they can muck up the congressional situation, which isn't that hard to do, and create the inaction so they can do whatever they want to do for as long as they possibly can do it.
We're the gatekeepers. America innovates, China duplicates, and then the EU regulates. That's kind of where we're at right now on a grand scale.
Investment in data centers. Beyond that, I think it's very important that policymakers continue to be apprised as to the capabilities of these models. In fact, both sides of it, the risks as well as the capabilities. There are, of course, channels that exist both between labs and government and among the labs themselves. But I think that most of us as policymakers, unless you're out looking for it, are not kept up to speed on exactly where the leading edge is. I think that's all very important. I think there could also be a lot more investment in actually safety and alignment related research. The labs do this themselves, but they're not necessarily incentivized to do it. And so there could be more of a federal role for promoting basic cutting edge safety related and alignment related research. But then finally, and maybe most importantly, I think that part of this conversation that we've been focusing a lot on when it comes to discussions of AI. There have been more of them happening here lately, but they've been really oriented on the aspects of the issue that are familiar. Okay, so the issues related to energy, issues related to water, some of the risks that are of a familiar kind. But the discussion has not focused much on the broader question of how are we going to prepare society for the enormous changes that are likely to be ushered in the coming years. And so when we get to this idea of states as laboratories of democracy or of experimentation, I think this actually is maybe the context in which that idea is most relevant. Because when it comes to sort of regulating the capabilities and constraining the capabilities of the systems themselves, the laboratories of a democracy idea isn't really fitting. Number one, because there is an enumerated federal power when it comes to interstate commerce. Number two, we talk about experimentation. This is sort of something that we have to get right and we only get one shot at. There's a widely shared view that once AI capability crosses a certain threshold, whether that be recursive self-improvement or some other threshold, there's sort of going to be an escape velocity. So that has implications, number one, for the sort of narrower geopolitical context of which country leads in the technology, but also for the broader idea of is this technology going to be aligned with and beneficial to humanity.
Thank you again to both the chair and the ranking member for organizing this very important hearing, and to the witnesses for your testimony. I'm glad that we're talking about how Congress and other lawmakers can responsibly legislate and regulate around AI. I represent the Research Triangle in North Carolina. I have seen the incredible things that AI can do, particularly in the medical area and in biopharma. And I'm just blown away by the powerful and positive use of AI. But I've also seen the negative effects of AI. And I'm thrilled that one of those issues has been brought up by Representative Klein and Representative Lee, and that's the ongoing necessary litigation that's happening with content creators and copyright. I was with the head of Anthropic this morning talking about how much money they're having to pay for what they did that was illegal, flat out illegal. And I hope and look forward to working with Mr. Chairman and the ranking member to make a hearing on that issue, and we've had a couple of those hearings happen again, but do it in a way that we can promote good behavior by AI companies. I also, I know I love California, and I know we're talking about California, but I want to bring up some crucial areas where other states have regulated AI in necessary ways. And I know that we have the parents of children who have been hurt by AI here. And the states are ahead of Congress in protecting our children. And given our inaction, many states have stepped up, passing legislation covering topics that run the gamut from expanding CSAM laws to cover AI-generated material in Alabama, to prohibiting AI from being used to provide mental health care services in Nevada. And then, we've been talking about democracy, prohibiting the use of AI during an election to create political messaging that contains deep fakes of candidates for office in New Hampshire. And so this, we've been talking about federalism, but sometimes the states have to act.
We're the gatekeepers. America innovates, China duplicates, and then the EU regulates. That's kind of where we're at right now on a grand scale. So if the US were to follow the EU's model of overregulating AI before it's understanding the risks, what impact would that have on AI development and competition? Because I believe that the EU is trying to create a space for themselves, just like they are with the 7 American corporations, for the most part created in California. There's one other one called ByteDance, you might have heard of it. But now we have the EU telling us with the DMA, the Digital Markets Act, how we can function and how we can, advance ourselves as an American economy. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, you've got it exactly right, Congressman. Let's actually put some numbers on this. I often, when I'm lecturing to students or other audiences, I ask them, can you name any leading global digital technology innovators that are headquartered in the European Union today? And I'm usually met with silence. There are a couple, but actually 18 of the 25 largest digital technology companies in the world by market cap are American-based companies. Only 2 are European. Most people can't name them. When I ask that question, most people say companies that are now defunct, like Skype. Right. And others. Innovation has died in the European Union. They've committed essentially continent-wide technological suicide with a regulatory model that is based on a sort of guilty until proven innocent mindset, where every single technology or innovation is somehow nefarious and must be bottled up and preemptively regulated. This is why, compared to the past, where the United States and Europe were very, very evenly situated in the early 90s, we went down 2 very different paths. And our path are more pro-innovation, pro-growth paths that really the Clinton-Gore administration unlocked with a Republican Congress in a bipartisan way. That yielded incredible benefits for our nation, which made us the global leader. The household names in digital technology in the European Union today are American companies. What is European Union exporting on the digital technology front? Red tape. That's about all I've got left.
Thank you for that answer. Chairman, before I yield back, I just want to make the comment that, one of the concerns on many different fronts is how do you strike this balance between state development and economies and not seeing an overreach like we have seen here in D.C. many times. So with that, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. We now go to yet another gentleman from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a recovering computer science major, and when I was studying computer science, I thought, neural networks, they're never going to work. So just take whatever I say with a grain of salt. All right, I'd like to just note for the record what happened. Congress established in the House of Representatives a bipartisan AI task force. I was the co-chair, and there were 12 Democrats, 12 Republicans, and we all agreed on over 80 recommendations in a bipartisan manner, a number of which could be turned into legislation. And instead, the Trump administration basically says, no, we don't want Congress doing anything, and we'll go to the states and not have them do anything. We'll have zero regulation. And the Trump administration tried to put in a 10-year moratorium ban on states that was opposed by 17 Republican governors, 20 Republican attorney generals, and 130 Republican state lawmakers. And then that 10-year proposed ban failed 99-1 in the U.S. Senate, a spectacular rejection of what the administration was trying to do. So now we're in a place where the actual reality is, it's not whether we're going to regulate AI. It's, do you want 17 states doing it, or do you want Congress to do it? And with that lead in, Mr. Thier, I know you were supportive of the AI moratorium. Your approach failed. So now we're in this new sort of position since it's failed. I'm curious, what areas do you think Congress should regulate in? Because it's clear we're not going to preempt with nothing, sure. Right? What are the things that you think that will be helpful for the American innovation?
Sure. Well, first of all, Congressman, I want to thank you for your leadership on this with Representative Overnolte, with the House AI Task Force, and then also the legislation that you did mention that you sponsored on this. I think that was a good starting building block for what we can do. We've heard many other members here today talk about the sort of things that NIST could be doing, or the new CASI, which again is a carryover from the AI Safety Institute. We could take some of the ideas that are already been percolating at the state level, including in California and New York and others, to basically build upon what can be done in federal legislation. And you can combine that with other sort of targeted actions. I want to remind everyone here, people say Congress doesn't do anything. Does everybody already forgotten about the Take It Down Act? Passed overwhelmingly, right? We can take targeted approaches to this, and we can take broad approaches. The point is that we can't have the technocratic design of regulation being done in a patchwork like this, or that is going to create serious problems for American innovators as we continue to try to race against China to build out our capacity. We have to balance safety and innovation at the same time. So we do need to have some preemption. In my testimony, I spelled it out in great detail how to do this, but reserve certain powers to the states. I want to agree with the Democratic Attorney General of Massachusetts, who said, quote, existing state consumer protection, anti-discrimination, data security laws still apply to emerging technology, including AI systems, as they would in any other context. That's exactly right. States can continue to do that, but we need to have a federal framework to make sure we get this done right.